After you get a lot of practice with else's, like if else statements, you might get a little bit overconfident in, you need to use them to solve every problem to make it more efficient. However, here's an example where you don't want to use an else because it's the only way to solve the problem. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a program called item count, where we will have, let's say, double unit price. So there's going to be some things that we'll buy, and this will be the price of all of them. And then we'll have a counter for how many items we get. And now what we'll have to do here is set this as 0. So we're going to initialize it to 0. And then we'll have some chars for how many things we will be buying. So char, let's say we can buy a hat, cat, mat, bat, and rat. Okay, so these are the things that we buy at this particular store, and then we'll put a total at the end. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to first prompt the user for how many or what the price is. So cout, and this will be what is the unit price. We'll put it like this. So cn, this will be unit price. And then what I've got to do is I've got to prompt the user for whether they want a hat, cat, mat, bat, or a rat. So we'll cout, do you want to buy a hat? And then we'll make sure that they know that this is a yes, no answer. And then we'll cin the value of hat. Okay, so now this is a good place to, I'm going to copy this and I'll paste. That's 2, 3, 4. And now I'm just going to need to replace all of these values with the correct object. So this is for cat. Then we've got our mat. Okay. And then we've got our bat. And then we've got our rat. There we go. So I'm counting whether or not they want to get all of these things. So now what we need to do is we'll have, now I am about to do this incorrectly so that you can see how this is going to work. So I'm going to do if hat equals a yes, then I'm going to have counter increase. Else if cat is equal to yes, then the counter is going to increase. And now now that I've got the else here, I'm going to copy this. And then I can do my mat, bat, and rat. Okay, so I've got my counter, and then what I'm going to do is my total is going to be equal to the unit price multiplied by the counter. So what we want to do is we want to count up how many things. Cout total equals, and then we'll put a $sign here and the total value. Okay, so let's run the program and see what we get. So what is the unit price? I'm going to say $22. Do I want to buy a hat? I'm going to say yes and then no to the rest. So we get a total of $22 at the end because that is 1 times 22. So let me do this for 3 items then. So I should be able to get 66. So 22, yes, no, yes, no, yes. That's 3 items. We get a total of 22. Okay. So this is the most common error with this kind of program that I see people making, which is why I'm highlighting it, this example. So whenever you have an if-else ladder that isn't doing what you're expecting it to do, trace what the variable is and what the conditions are as you're going through. So in the second example there where I said yes to hat, mat, and rat, here's what happens. So it enters the if-else ladder at the first stage. Hat is equal to y. Is that true? Yes, that's a true statement. So what happens is this is true. Our counter increases by 1, and the nature of the if-else ladder is as soon as it finds a true statement, it skips to the end. So it doesn't actually check to see the remainder, whether they are yes or no, when it finds that the first one is a yes. So when we want to do this style of program, especially for creating a count of things, these are so good for making counts. What we want to do is we want to delete the else. And then we'll leave it as just if in all of these situations. So now what it's going to do is say I put yes for the first, third, and fifth one. Hat can be yes, and then it's still going to check the remainder. There's no way to make this more efficient because we actually do have to check every single possibility. So let's see that this works. I'm going to run the program. What is the unit price? $22. Yes, no, yes, no, yes. And we get a total of 66. So sometimes, especially when you're counting things and you need to check every possibility, you do want if statements rather than else's so that you don't accidentally skip over a check that you actually need to make.